This is Bob Ranquist at Boca Rio Golf Club with an update on the storm damage caused by Hurricane Irma. We were extremely fortunate that the eye of Hurricane Irma took a path up the west coast instead of along the east coast of Florida, sparing us from the worst of the storm. Unfortunately, we still experienced significant damage to the golf course as a result of winds that gusted up to 80 to 90 miles per hour. We had numerous trees that were blown down completely, and many broken limbs are on the ground and hanging in the trees. The amount of damage to vegetation is very similar to what we experienced when Hurricane Wilma passed through the area in 2005. It took about 4 weeks for the vegetative debris cleanup in 2005, and we estimate it will take a similar amount of time to remove trees and limbs damaged by Irma. Unlike what we saw with Hurricane Wilma, a lot of the damage to trees is deep in some of the native areas, especially between holes numbers 7 and 8, numbers 8 and 11, and numbers 7 and 14. Some of these areas may look very different this winter due to the decreased density of vegetation caused by Hurricane Irma. The good news is that only a few trees that were blown down were of any strategic value to the playing quality of the golf course. Our rain gauge snapped off its holding pole in the severe winds, and we can only estimate from other local reports that we had between 5 and 7 inches of rain, which mainly occurred on Sunday. Judging by the amount of rise in the water levels of our lakes and canals, I am confident that the amount of rain was in that range. Thankfully, power stayed on at our outflow pump at number 16T, and most of the excess water will be pumped off the property by late this afternoon. Erosion damage to newly planted areas was minor, and most of these areas will be repaired by the first of next week. Grass on the greens was well established, and they were not affected by the rain in any way. We lost electrical service at our irrigation pump station, and it will not likely be restored for several days. We hooked our generator up to the pump station, and it will allow us to water newly planted areas as needed over the next several days. Buildings at the clubhouse and golf course maintenance facility were not significantly damaged by the wind and rain, and both areas had electrical service immediately after Hurricane Irma passed. Renovation contractors should be able to return to work on the golf course in the next day or two to begin to address punch list items and place sand in the bunkers in order to complete the golf course renovation. Bunker slopes and liners were not damaged in any way by Hurricane Irma's heavy wind and rain. Though we sustained considerable damage to trees during Hurricane Irma, playing areas were only lightly affected. If growing conditions are normal through the remainder of September and October, we should be able to reopen the golf course by early to mid-November, even though some of the native areas may look less than pristine due to the volume of cleanup work that needs to be done as a result of Irma. We appreciate your understanding and patience as we work through this challenging period.